Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to NYMTC's Program Finance and Administration Committee, or PFAC, meeting. My name is Brad Schilling. I'm representing the New York State Department of Transportation, and today, the chair of PFAC. Before we begin, I want to point out the emergency exits, should there be an emergency evacuation. They are basically behind the audience, kind of on the right as the audience is facing me. There's one in that direction, and there's a couple even further in that direction. Also, those in the room, please silence your cell phones. Put them on vibrate mode if you haven't done so already. Just did mine a couple of minutes ago. Now, I'd like to begin this meeting with introductions of the members around the table. I'm going to ask each member to announce who they are, their agency, and who they are representing today, beginning with the far end of the table to my left. So please speak clearly into the microphone.
Don Amani, Federal Highway Administration, New York Division, representing Division Administrator Rick Markey.
Hannah Greenberg, EPA Region 2, representing Regional Administrator Peter Lopez.
Chris Chatterton, Suffolk County, representing County Executive Steve Ballone.
Jack Schmidt, New York City Planning, representing Planning Director Marisa Lago.
Ann McGrane, New York City Department of Transportation, representing Commissioner Polly Trottenberg.
Catherine Corliss, MTA, representing Pat Water, Chairman of MTA.
Naomi Klein, Westchester County, representing Westchester County Executive George Latimer.
Sandra Fusco, Putnam County, representing Mary Ellen Odell, Putnam County Executive.
Ed Gurdon, Rockland County, representing County Executive Ed Day.
Ted Ritter, North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, representing Executive Director Mary Amin.
Thank you. My count under our operating procedures. We should have a quorum for today's meeting. Oh yes, we have one more that just walked in. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your agency and whom you are representing.
Jay Sheffield from the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you. So we should have a quorum for today's meeting. Now we will begin the meeting with a presentation on the proposed federal fiscal years 2020 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program given by Angelina Foster of NYMTC staff.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelina Foster. As noted, I am the manager for the Transportation Improvement Program and unit here at NYMTC. Today, I'd like to take a moment to talk with you about the development of our Transportation Improvement Program, which we commonly refer to as the TIP, as well as our planning process. And before I get into details about the TIP development, I want to take a moment to introduce everyone to NYMTC, the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, and how we handle our planning process here at NYMTC. NYMTC is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, commonly referred to as the MPO, for the New York City, Long Island, and Lower Hudson Valley area. We are a regional council of governments, and we are required to exist by federal legislation and regulation. And the product that I'm going to be talking about today, the TIP, is required as the enabling document for an area to receive transportation funding. NYMTC is comprised of 3 areas that make up our 10-county region that we commonly refer to as TCCs, which is Transportation Coordinating Committees. And they cover a geospatial area Each one of them, Mid-Hudson, which is to the north of New York City, covers 3 counties, Putnam, Westchester, and Rockland. And New York City is the 5 counties of New York City, which includes the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Kings, and Staten Island. And then Nassau-Suffolk Transportation Coordinating Committee covers Long Island, both Nassau and Suffolk counties. And that together makes up what is called our planning boundaries or our planning area. Within NYMTC, we have various agencies and county levels of government that are represented. We have 5 counties, so it's, again, Westchester, Nassau, Suffolk, Putnam, and Rockland County executives, as well as for the City of New York, representing the mayor is New York City Department of Planning and New York City Department of Transportation. Further supported at the state level of government by New York State Department of Transportation, as well as the MTA, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. We also have advisory members that are a part of the collective but do not vote, and that would be the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Transit, and our sister MPO across the river, North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, which we refer to as NJTPA. We also have at the state level, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and at the federal level, both Federal Highway Administration, Federal Transit Administration, and U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The NYMTC planning process is depicted in this slide graphically. It really starts in the upper right-hand corner where we look at our long-term planning. We refer to that as our Regional Transportation Plan. That leads to our Unified Planning Work Program, which we refer to as the UPWP. It provides a basis for the improvements. A lot of the projects that we receive in the TIP have studies that go through the UPWP. And the part of the process that we're here again to talk about today is the Transportation Improvement Program, which you can see depicted in the green triangle of this pie, and it is really the midterm of our planning process, and it defines the schedule and funding for projects and implementation of various types of improvement. Both the RTP and the TIP are required to have an analysis that backs them up so that we can first know that we are trying to improve our portion of the environmental requirements in our area. We have our conformity determination, and the conformity determination is also a part of the process when we update the TIP as well as the plan, because it is an analysis for both projects. And we also have our congestion management process, which is mainly accompanying the RTP when it's updated, but it does give a lot of information and strategies to be looked at as we're going through the TIP process with the project. The TIP, as I noted, is the enabling document for federal transportation funding, so its role in the process is to ensure that projects get funds. And within the TIP, you'll see various types of projects to include systems and various demand management projects. The TIP is normally developed every 2 to 3 years, and the cycle does vary based on where we are with federal legislation, state budgets, as well as what we're doing within NYMTC and our members are doing within their own programs. During each of our cycles, we do overlap with our current TIP, so we currently have an approved transportation improvement program that in theory could carry us as far as federal fiscal year 20, but we've chosen to update it this time, and this graphic is depicting how when we do an update, we are overlapping those years. So the first thing you'll see within the project listings of this new proposed TIP, which is federal fiscal year 20 through 24, is the committed column, which is federal fiscal year 2019, which we are currently in. The federal fiscal years begin October 1st, and they end September 30th of each year. And they are named for the year that they end in. Within our TIP listing, you'll see a plethora of funding acronyms. Most of them are represented in this slide, and all of them are depicted in the appendix and described in detail for what they are and what the requirements are for eligibility. We have both federal funding, which is under Title 23, as well as transit funding, which is under Title 49. When we went into this TIP update, we made certain assumptions on funding because the federal legislation actually expires in 2020. The state did make assumptions based on the prior legislation. Our current federal legislation is known as the FAST Act, which is the Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act. And in developing those funding assumptions, the state looks at their state regionally. This graphic is a map showing you the 11 regions of New York State DOT. NYMTC actually covers regions 11, 10, and a portion of region 8. Our TIP is comprised, again, of project listings that come up through our transportation coordinating committees. The full value of the TIP is $21.6 billion, and this graphic is showing you how it breaks out by TCC. Overall, that $21.6 billion is approximately 53% federal and 46% local. And I want to point out that I'm talking about what is actually listed in the TIP versus investments that our members may be making beyond that, but it's not shown in the TIP. The funding breaks out again over years, federal years 20 through 24, and this is just showing you how that breakdown occurs. All of the projects in our TIP are estimated in year of expenditure dollars. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to ask my colleague and my deputy, David Dritz, to come up, and he's going to demonstrate our TIP visualization.
Thank you. So I'm going to be doing a brief demo on the TIP visualization that we put together. The TIP visualization was put together in ArcGIS Online. All right, so hope everyone can hear me well. Great. So the TIP visualization accessible through NYMTC's website. When you click on the link, it will bring you to the visualization page. If you are trying to find a project in your area, there are a few ways that you can get at TIP. You can either zoom into the area, or you can do a keyword search and just enter in your address. So by clicking on already pre-populated our local address here, which is 25 Beaver Street, so it automatically zooms into the area, and the visualization actually, we've put together one that has different work types, which you can see in the left navigation for highway, transit, pedestrian, ferry, bus, bike, ITS, and parking. These work types are represented in 3 different geospatial types. They're either points, lines, or polygons. So I'm going to zoom out and select a project. So in this case, I'd like to go to the landscape. There we go. All right, so I clicked on a pedestrian project, a bike a pedestrian project actually. This one is, it has a plan ID, is how we track projects in our MPO, a PIN number, which is the project identification number used to track projects for funding purposes. Its type, which is pedestrian. The Transportation Coordinating Committee that is responsible for programming the project, the county that the project is in, the project name, a description of the project, its cost, the responsible agency, its air quality code, and the tip that it was put on. Additionally, if you are interested in finding out where your project is, in which congressional district, which assembly in or state senate district, you have the information available by clicking on the next little arrow there, and it tells you that this is in New York City Assembly District. In this case, the New York State Senate District is Danielle Squadron, who is the representative there. Velasquez is the Congresswoman, and Carol Maloney is the, so it must cross both district lines over there. So now, the tip visualization is a compilation of all projects that can be visualized. Not every single tip project is in the visualization because projects that are of operational nature, those types of projects are available in our full project listing. So if you need to find projects that are not available in visualization, I always recommend going to the tip document for the project listing, which has every project in it. So I'm going to now turn back to Angelina Foster to finish the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, again, just as a reminder, our TIP program has been open for public review since June 24th. It is on the NYMTC website, which is www.nymtc.org. And you'll also find the accompanying conformity determination there. Within our TIP, as I mentioned before, we have all these project listings which show you the projects and the funding, federal funding that they are aligned for. But within the narrative, we have a new requirement this year that's new to our TIP narrative, and that is to talk about transportation performance management. And it is growing in its importance. It is mandated at the federal level that the TIP shall include a discussion of the various transportation performance programs that the members are required to be a part of, as well as the targets and goals that they adopted, which were developed by the state. Within this TIP, we are definitely giving those statements about what we are a part of for the state, but as well as what each of our members are doing within the program and beyond to support those performance measures. This slide is just really to give you an understanding, again, of the time that we've been out here developing the TIP. Our public review started on June 24th, and we are at the third dot today, our August 27th meeting of the Program Finance and Administration Committee. to seek their recommendation for the adoption of the tip to our council, for the council to adopt. This will all end in the fourth dot there in our council meeting on September 5th. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them. And if not at this time, then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled agenda.
Okay, thank you, Angelina and David. Are there any questions from the members? Any questions from the audience? Any questions from anyone joining by webinar? Thank you. We will now move on to the next agenda item. We will start the public participation segment of the meeting. We have set aside 15 minutes of the agenda to hear from registered speakers. We will hear from those speakers in the order that they have registered to speak for the duration of the allotted time. We ask that all registered speakers limit your comments to relevant transportation and planning related items and to less than 3 minutes so we can hear from as many speakers as possible in the allotted time. If you have written comments, you can give them to me when you approach the microphone provided in front of the dais. We have nothing. Let's move on to the next section of the meeting. We will now begin with the action items on the agenda. The first action is to accept the May 16th, 2019 meeting synopsis, which is available on the sign-in table. I am requesting all members to announce your name and the agency you represent when you make a motion or second a motion. Do we have a motion to accept the May 16th, 2019 meeting synopsis?
So moved, Jack Schmidt, City Planning.
Okay, thank you, City Planning. Okay, thank you, Rockland County. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. The next action item is to adopt Resolution 491, recommendation of the draft federal fiscal years 2020 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program for council adoption. All copies of the resolutions are available on the sign-in table. I will ask Angelina Foster to introduce the resolution.
I'm asking members for your adoption of Resolution 491 for the federal fiscal year 2020-2024 transportation program. We have publicly reviewed this program since 2019. We needed extension on 30-day requirement for public comment. All public comments have to be received and addressed and are with the notice for this meeting. So I'm asking for your vote for approval. I should notice that determination has expired for the state.
Okay, thank you, Angelina. Do we have a motion to adopt Resolution 491, recommendation of the draft federal fiscal years 2020 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program for council adoption?
So moved, Anne McGrain, New York City DOT.
Okay.
Second, Nicolay Klein, Westchester County.
Okay, thank you both. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Thank you.
And And the final action item is to adopt Resolution 492, amendments to the state fiscal year 2019 through 2020 Unified Planning Work Program. All copies of the resolutions are available on the sign-in table. I will ask Setu Allen to introduce the resolution.
Good afternoon. So PFAC resolution number 492 has actions to adjust programming within various projects within the ongoing UPWP, as well as adding projects that were not completed as anticipated during the 1819 program year to the current 2019-2020 UPWP. NYMTC staff has reviewed these actions and found them to be consistent with the plan. In addition, no new funding is required for any of these actions. NYMTC staff requests that you adopt this resolution.
Motion to adopt Resolution 492, amendments to the state fiscal year 2019 to 2020 Unified Planning Work Program.
Motion, Chris Chatterton, Suffolk County.
Thank you. Okay, thank you both. Do we have any discussion? Any opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, let's backtrack. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Before we go to the next item on the agenda, the following must be noted as per the PFAC operating procedures. On August 1st, 2019, Resolution 490, Transportation Conformity Determination for the federal fiscal years 2017 through 2021 Transportation Improvement Program, as amended, and federal fiscal years 2017 through 2045 Regional Transportation Program, as amended, to demonstrate conformity with the 2015 8-hour ozone national ambient air quality standard, was adopted by the members of PFAC on mail ballot as allowed under the PFAC operating procedures. This new conformity determination will demonstrate the conformity of the new federal fiscal years 2020 through 2024 TIP and current regional transportation plan with all required standards, including the 2015 ozone standards. Are there any questions from the audience regarding this action item? Seeing none, we'll move to the next part of the agenda. Now, I'm going to confirm that the next council meeting is scheduled to be held on Thursday, September 5th, 2019 at 10:30 a.m. at the U.S. Custom House, located at 1 Bowling Green, Lower Manhattan. Also, the next PFAC meeting is scheduled to be held on Thursday, November 21st, 2019 at 12:15 p.m. at the NYMTC offices located at 25 Beaver Street in Lower Manhattan. Now I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved, Jack Schmidt, Cincinnati.
Do I have a second?
Second, Naomi Klein, Westchester County.
Okay, thank you both. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The meeting is adjourned.